This is my preferred oil, Penrate. Going for the full synthetic. Been told it can handle more of a beating than your mineral oils, so that's what I'll go for. I've got my inner filters and sump gasket ready, and my Transgo reprogramming kit. So let's hope it feels really good when it's done. So there she is, all parked up on the edge of the concrete, nice and high off the ground. I mean, I can crawl under it without it, but everything to make it easier. Nice and secure, no danger, no rolling, nothing to worry about, and plenty of clearance. Here we are under the Jeep. The sump is quite accessible. I've heard of some having the exhaust across here, but mine doesn't. They have no drain plug, so that's why the plastic, just in case I cannot catch all the oil and it pours everywhere. I was thinking of putting a plug in, but decided against it because it's not something you do all the time. You know, you don't change it as regular as oil, engine oil. As a matter of fact, I don't know when this oil in this transmission was changed. It was in there when I brought the vehicle, so it's bound to be quite old. So, but once a year, if you do 20,000, I think would be fine. So first we have to undo these small ones and crack it loose and see how we go. First I will undo all the middle ones, but leave the corners, one in each corner, because you don't want the pan to fall down. So make sure you leave one in each corner so you can freely take out everything in the middle, in the middle, in the middle, in the middle, and then take out the corner ones last. That way you can remove one later or two and slowly lower the pan, and you don't have to worry about all the other screws. Okay, I've taken out all the screws but the four in the corners. It seems they've used a sealer as well as a gasket, or maybe a sealer only, I don't know yet. Recommended just use a new gasket every time. Make sure you have plenty rags handy, because it will get messy, and a big tub. That's the biggest one I could find, and hopefully I won't miss too much and end up having to do too much cleaning. So here we go. You may need a little flat screwdriver and a tapping hammer to break the seal. I would say this is the lowest point. So I guess that's where it will leak from first, from the back, which is not ideal because the oil will leak onto here, but we don't have much choice. I guess we could disconnect the lines and pump it all empty, but I don't want to go about that either. Right. Crack them loose. One first. In the pile. This is going to be well stuck, I'm sure. blind. There we go. Take your time. Honey! Han! Okay. Could you close the garage door, please? The wind is blowing through the garage and it's blowing the oil everywhere.
I close now.
Yes, please. Thank you. You don't want too much wind blowing around. I have a very bad neck, so this is an awesome job for me. I might edit some of this out. Oh, it doesn't look too bad. Seen worse, so. It was done at least 20,000. It's probably done 20,000 before that. But some of these modern gearboxes, it never gets changed, so. But obviously this one must get changed because it has a dipstick to check it, so it's not a sealed unit. I'm in no hurry to make an extra mess, so. It's raining oil. Slow it down a bit. Um, 13.5 litres says the book, but I'm not sure if that includes a torque converter or not. Sadly, these don't have a drain hole in the torque converter. Regular oil changes, that shouldn't matter. So I'll probably do another one in another, well, maximum 20, I think. I was expecting it to be like burnt black the way I hammered this thing. Just loosen these off. Don't take them out. Don't take them out. In case the seal breaks and it falls down, still hanging by these two. It's coming off quite easily. Don't rush it if you don't want to mess. Take your time. I certainly don't want to clean up too much of a mess. I hate messy. Like I said, this is the lowest point. You can usually guess it. Woo. My neck. Oh. Put a little bit of pressure on it. I guess you could have pumped it empty through the dipstick hole if you had the right pump. My pump's a bit old and shitty and worn out, so. Alright, just take out this one. There's not a lot left in there. Maybe a pint or a litre. I think it's the same, pint and litre, for you Americans out there. I don't know how many litres that is. Okay, one hand hold pressure on the sump to keep it up there, and with the other hand take out the nut, the bolt. If you're not ambidextrous or not good at multitasking, get a mate to help, or put a jack under it. And there we are. I'll check for metal in a minute. Okay, after it's done, always check for breakage and bits of metal. This looks pretty clean. I don't know if this is standard, but there's a magnet in here which is very clever, and there's just a fine layer of metal, which is wear and tear really. It collects all the fine metal from the oil. There's no chunky bits in here, just wear and tear. That's how metal wears down. So I'm reasonably happy with that. So I don't think there's any problems with the box. Otherwise it's pretty good, but always check that. Here is one of the filters, replacement one. There's a little mounting screw there and just a pop-on joint on that side. Always moisten these seals with oil before you push them on. And this is just a standard, not screw on but screw in filter. Let's remove them. We'll remove the big flat one first, and the reason being it'll give you more clearance to get to the round one later. Give it a wriggle, don't force it too much. It should just pop out like that. And I always keep screws where they should be. Just screw it in about halfway, keep it safe. You know where it is. Maybe it's hand tight. No. Old trick on the strong edge of the filter. Make a little indentation and tap it round. There it goes. Take your time, be patient. I did have a filter removal tool, but that won't walkabout as well, so. I'm a big boy, man, and this is hard when you're a big boy. It moved a little bit. Maybe I can get the filter on that. No. This is an old-fashioned way, and I'm going to do it. And that's how it's done. Plenty rags. Old rags, or plenty of old rags used before. A small tub would have been handy too. Quick, 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 I don't want to get it up my arm. There we go. All done. I recommend don't put a screwdriver through it to replace it. I need to take an old one off. Alright. Okay. I've refilled my filter with oil, primed it, so that it gets through the system quicker, and also moisten the seal at the same time. Grab a rag, give it a good wipe. Now I've noticed these are not steel, they're plastic screw-ins, so just grab it and lock it on tight. I wouldn't want to use a tool on it. You don't want to break that screw-on piece that's in there. Yeah. Okay. That's that filter. Dip in oil. Screw out. As you remember, I put it back in to keep safe. Give it a good whack. Put the screw in. Yeah, that's firm. Tighten it up. Not something you want to come loose later. Now I have to put the pan back on after I've cleaned it. Filters are up. This is cleaned. Pan is spotless. Excuse me. I like to just stick the gasket on the pan with a very little bit of adhesive, like a automotive silicone, just to hold it in place, not to seal it. So it makes the job easier of installing. Here we go. No problems, nice and smooth, not wobbling, no interference anywhere. Where's my tool? One in the middle. On the other side. Okay, I'll start doing them all and show you how to tighten them in a minute. Okay, the screws are all in. First, you snug them up. Not tight. Oh, I'm gonna rest my head on something. My neck is definitely a big problem for this job. So it's just a hobby now. Maybe I can put my hand on this drill. Oh, I've got to fix that CV joint soon. A bit of oil on the brakes, grease. Okay, they're all snug, touching, but to tighten them, you start, if it's a longish shape, you start in the middle, you firm them up, go to the other side, cross over, just like you would a head, so that if there's any distortion in the pan, you push it to the outer edges. I think I've done that one, make sure. Well, that's how I've always been taught. And that's it. All done under here. Finished. To fill it back up, you can either use a pump on a drill, if you've got one, or use one of these handy bottles. You get them at most service station and auto shops. The nozzle pulls out. You have to do it quite a few times, but it's okay, because you have to fill it up through the dipstick hole, and most of them are quite small. I'm using Penrite full synthetic. As you know, Penrite is my favourite oil. Why stick to something when it's never given you any problems? Why change? Alright, and then fill it up through the dipstick hole. I've already removed the dipstick, and I'll show you now how to do it. You get your bottle, slowly aim it at the dipstick hole, squeeze, let go, keep letting air in it. Until it's empty, and you just keep repeating that. This box takes 13 litres, I've got 12, but I think that's including the torque converter. So I'll put 8 litres in and check it with the dipstick, start it up, see what happens, get it on the level and recheck again when the engine's hot, until it reaches the right dipstick height. So fairly straightforward job, fun to do, I enjoy it, and I'm sure you will too. And the gratification, you've done it yourself, then you've saved yourself a lot of money that you haven't spent at a garage. You save yourself hundreds of dollars.